Hello and welcome! We are playing Useless Demon Lord, and we actually get into the character of a lady here who became recently a Demon Lord. A little bit of a opposite thing compared to a certain goddess that we know as useless, right? Here we have Demon Lord. What would happen if the two would go against each other, I wonder? But, well, we might not be able to find out. Let's find out what she's doing here for right now, because it's next day. And a light breakfast it was. The dining table has been cleared off and recovered with some maps and charts. There's only vague academic feeling hanging in the air, and I don't like it one bit. Academic? More like strategic. Seems like we might be going into offensive mode. The castle, as I've discovered, is not nearly as vast as I assumed it was. As a result, the bigger rooms like this apparently often end up being reused for multiple purposes. Right now, the only ones present besides me are Tres and Zen. Oh yeah, you were right about her clothes. I think she said they were with a zipper? Maybe I'm mistaken. Once again, I was hoping it'd be just me and Tres, but...
Since you should now be more or less familiar with the layout of the castle, we need to fill you in a bit of on our geographical and military position as well.
And see if we have a military position anymore. But hey, if anyone could pull us out of the rut we've been stuck in, it'd be a Demon Lord, right? Don't let us down, boss. Oh no, expectations.
I see. So for a start, this map. Royan Empire? Chas? I think over at the, like, the most right, on the right thing is the Demon Lord area, Yep, this is our continent, as you may have guessed. By that I mean this is the continent we live in. It's not all ours, not anymore. I assumed as much. No, where's our castle located?
This is perhaps a bit embarrassing to admit, but... you may as well just tell her straight up.
I noticed. I'm so good at this.
We're here. This dinkled fragment territory in the corner.
Demon lands.
Our area of influence has shrunk rather a lot over the past few years. You see, summoning a new Demon Lord is a rather time-consuming and complicated process. We're sitting ducks for quite a while until they all backed us into the corner.
Char? What the heck? Char? Are we talking about that Char? You know. Gundam people would know. Hope you guys know. Let's know, guys.
But usually leave us alone here because the terrain is too harsh for enemies of any sort of reasonable size to make it through the cliffs all along the ocean too, so no place to park a sheepy there. Sure, your party of heroes or two will still come trying to challenge us every once in a while, but we can handle them.
Because we have a hero on our side?
We're not the priority anymore, so the few we get now are only glory-chasing idiots. No real threat.
This arrangement sounds more than fine to me, but the reason they've brought me here is because they'd rather not stay this way, huh? I obviously can't tell them that I'd personally really prefer to avoid going to war. Maybe it'd be better try showing some proactiveness here, even if I'm not feeling it. Where would you two suggest that we begin then?
Oh, there is no need to rush. Our best course of action will be to begin planning future preparations, gathering what resources we have.
Screw that! There is a seaside town near the edge of our territory. It's too small to be labeled on this map, and too small for the capital to bother sending an reinforcements. They're more than used to being taken over by at this point, so we can easily snatch them up and score ourselves a good part to use. for our own purposes. Boom! Instant headquarters for inventing them from the sea. The perfect launch pad for a comeback, if I do say so myself. Ahem. Ahem. Ultimately, the final call is up to Lucille. And it's not time for her to make this decision just yet. Anyway, she still needs to study up a bit more before she can start making informed choices on possible courses of actions.
Let's go for.
Thought we're finally gonna be done with pussyfooting around here. Hey boss, no need to listen to Miss Caterpillar Eyebrows. I'll lead us in the right direction without her. I happen to have been told by more partners than you will be within your life that my eyebrows are rather attractive, actually. That's her. You've got to be there for.
They seem to be used to bantering like this. They must be quite close friends. I can't help but feel a tiny bit jealous. Both their friendship and of those prior partners, of course. This feeling of wanting to become a part of its world, even if doing so means someday being exposed as a disappointment, is a strange one. I certainly never felt like that in my own world. So will I really be able to stand alongside the others like this someday? Am I even capable of being their equal?
Wait, Lucille, hold on for a sec.
Tress catches up to me as I leave the hall after our meeting, interrupting the thoughts that I'd started to get lost in. Yes, is there more that you require of me?
Just one thing. You remember how I mentioned that you need to do some studying, yes? Unless you may still be growing accustomed to, you know, existing here and all of that. But I want to ask you if you'd be ready to start by Monday. No sooner than that, for I usually have plans on the weekends.
So they have the same days of the week here too, huh? How curious. I guess that, as well as the fact that we share a language, is why they call these sorts of things parallel worlds. Two lines running in the same direction, but in entirely different places. That is fine by me.
Good, good. We'll meet in lounge after breakfast on weekdays then. I look forward to having plenty of one-on-one sessions with you from now on, Lucille.
She doesn't mean anything particular by that, does she? Back in my room later that day, I found a standing calendar sitting on a dresser. How did you not notice? I've seen it. I must have missed it. Was too tired last night to look around much. Indeed, the days of the week are the same, although Saturday and Sunday are listed next to each other at the end of the week, rather than split apart by the weekdays like I'm used to. Why would you be used to? What? What? Who splits that? It must be the Americans, as always. Ah. Who else would do something like that? Why would you split them? They are the same week. It's so ridiculous. Even the names of the months are identical, since these names were based on the names of native gods and rulers and the like where I came from. Wait, is that true? I'm really curious about the origins of the same names in this world. I had no clue. Conveniently, whoever left me this calendar has marked the day I was summoned. Thursday. With a surprisingly modern looking red pen that's placed nearby. I cross off 2 days and sigh to myself. So that's another day come and gone. It may not have seemed like it, but it sure felt like a long one. The fact that I don't really have anything to do at the moment probably didn't help with that. At the very least, I don't have to worry about the steadily creeping feeling of being more of a waste of my parents' money with every passing day. Actually, seeing as I'm now in a situation where going to war is a very real possibility, I should instead be worrying about, like, dying or something. It's easy to forget about that because of how welcoming this place has been so far. Speaking of my parents though, I wonder what's going on back home now. If time flows at different rates between worlds, they'll either still be unaware that I'm gone, or they're in a tizzy trying to work with police and detectives to figure out what happened to me. I mean, you didn't walk out of the house at all, I think we know. Let's face it. Unless she's just dreaming or something. It might be the case in the end, right? Or they've already long since given up. I hope they don't worry too much. I'd hate to have existed as a drain on them, only suddenly disappear all their efforts in raising me for naught. For there's also the possibility that I never left that world, and there's just another me plodding away at her depressing life like nothing has changed, with me being a split of branch of the original consciousness. If so, I wish her only the best. Maybe she'll be able to figure out how to do things right in ways that I, the me without the quotations marks, never could. I struggle again to pull my top of my horns. There has to be an easier way to do this.
Magic.
Spell, right? The next day I wake up from yet another nap and shake off the drowsiness. I wasn't trying to fall asleep, but I guess this is just what happens when I'm staring at the wall with an empty brain for too long. I get up and check the calendar. Today, yep, it's definitely still Sunday.
Jealous much, I wish it was Sunday.
This calendar being manually operated is making me a bit anxious. It's only a matter of time until I forget to mark off a day and then I'll be totally lost. Non-technological solutions for non-technological problems. Let's try magic. Finally! 3S said that using it as simple as envisioning a goal and then focusing your energy. In the case of connecting my senses with the castle, it really was that simple, so... Seems silly to be using mysterious arcane forces like this, but screw it! The goal. Making the pen mark days on this calendar for me automatically. My energy. Focused! When I open my eyes again, there is a faint magical aura surrounding the pen. Okay, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. That's so stupid. The fact that I'm wasting time like this is very indicative of how uneventful my weekend has been so far. Like seriously, not even the slightest bit of event. Not one morsel. It's tiring doing absolutely nothing for this long. All I did today and yesterday was leave my room for meal times and then head right back. And now, this magical experiment of questionable usefulness. Something must be done. I know I haven't really been asked to do anything yet, but I'm about to go nuts. I've been living with responsibilities looming over me for far too long to exist without them anymore. Searching for any way to kill time, I probe for the locations of the others. I don't want to bother them if they're busy with important duties, but it may be good for me to see firsthand what those duties actually are. Stress is... Yup! She's not available. Let's see who else. So far I've only really had real interactions with 3 of the 5 demon generals. My current goal is to get to know Chris or Grasha a bit better, but I'm a bit apprehensive. Grasha is a whole different class of monster from Gami. Anyone could just go up and say hi to a smiling friendly blob like them, but a dragon? I'll have to carefully consider my approach there. And as for Chris, I'm not so great with them. It's not that I have a problem with them or anything. No backstory of harassment that somehow implied to be the reason I turned out gay. I'm just not great with them. There's no deeper meaning. Same. No sense in getting cold feet now, though. In this world, there is so many things out there that could be scarier than just talking normally with a guy, so he'll be my first target today. Lucky! While tracing a path in my mind that will lead to where Crits currently is, I spot a small group of demons not from the upper echelons for the first time. It doesn't surprise me that they are here. I've been able to feel their presences from the start, but seeing them in person is a real ha! I guess this really is a demon castle moment. I try my best to stand up straight and proud, 2 things I very much am not, and their voices are hushed with awe as I pass by. I overhear an excited whisper from one succubus to another, a little bit too loudly.
"The demon lord is finally here!"
she says, clearly overjoyed. More people to disappoint if I can't learn to do my job right. Don't know what I do without Stress's offer to guide me. Speaking of, I noticed that these succubi's outfits are very different from what Tress wears. It's the stereotypical revealing style that's usually associated with the species in my world's fiction. Interesting. No, I'm not staring. No, I'm just thinking that I seem to have learned something new about Tress today.
Oh, Lucille, did you need something from me?
Nothing of particular importance. Are you busy at the moment?
Not a whole lot to be busy with these days.
Is that so? Then if you don't mind me asking, what does everyone do to pass the time here when there is no work to do? This castle seems to be a fair bit less active than I would have expected from a place like this.
What the others do is none of my business, really. As for myself, I rarely stay here for long. During times of peace, there is much more to do outside these walls. For instance, all I've done today is read books in the library. Not a terrible pastime, but hardly my preferred one. I only returned a few days ago because it wouldn't do to be absent when the Demon Lord arrives. Otherwise, I would be miles away right now.
The library. I see. I didn't notice that we had one. Perhaps I should visit as well.
I mean, no disrespect, it's just that I don't think I've ever heard of a Demon Lord that had an interest in actually setting foot in that place.
Would there happen to be an issue with me doing so?
Nah, better than just hoarding valuable books without so much as glancing at the page. That's the reason the library was built here in the first place, no? However, if that's all, I'll be going.
Without another word, Chris promptly leaves. Was he being rude, or was just the kind of guy that straight women consider cool, or both? Straight women in the comments answer. I suppose I'll know, not that it matters. Next is Grusha. The temptation to put off this meeting until later is strong, but even if I procrastinate, the only alternative is returning to mind-numbing boredom. He is a little bit further away than Chris was and surrounded by a small group of servants. I'll probably see what that's about in just a moment. Maybe I shouldn't be relying on this newfound castle connection ability of mine. A gamer who spends too much time staring at the minimaps can easily lose sight of the bigger picture and get lost without them. Yeah. But it's just so darn convenient. Don't know how I'd live without it. Like, literally, who knows what would have happened to me. As if on cue, I've suddenly provided one big reason to pay attention to the bigger picture. What is directly in front of me while I'm walking, basically. My apologies, Sir Grusha. I've lost in thought. Who?
Already formal. The sir isn't necessary.
Ahem. My apologies. I noticed that Grusha seems to be occupied with moving furniture. So they really do make him do this. To what and for, who knows? A flattering group of maid, seemingly having given up on helping Grusha lift the oversized dresser, do their best to at least direct him in the right direction. Looks like quite the hustle. Are you in need of any assistance here? No response, he just returns to his work. He does seem to have this job under control, but even so, looks like a hassle. Nobody's looking at me now, so this might be an opportunity to try some more stuff out.
Cool. Envisioned. Energies. You get the idea.
The large dresser floats up in the air, becoming very light and responsive even to the feeble nudging of the limbs.
Thanks, I suppose.
I'm just leaving before I have a chance to say, "You're welcome." Man of few words indeed. Can you even consider these two interactions to be conversation? The man of the demon journals apparently are the most social sort. One of the imps stops in front of me to bow in thanks before returning to the rest, now easily pushing the cumbersome object to whatever destination is in store for it, for whatever purpose it is meant to be serving. Either I'm a natural or magic really just as easy as that. Just as easy as that. I don't think I'll be counting on it being the former though. Yeah. I wonder. My crushing boredom was successfully defeated for most of the day thanks to the contents of the library. While many of the novels were rather dry reads, there were some interesting ones among them. Specifically, I enjoyed seeing what passes for a fantasy story in a world that is itself already very fantasy-like. And no, they were not just mundane stories of people in a world basically the same as mine, though that would have been pretty funny in a cosmic sort of way. Regardless, now it's time for dinner. I'm somewhat pleased to know that Tress actually showed up for this meal. She hasn't all weekend. I also noticed that the seating arrangements have shifted somewhat. Tress and Gummy are now at the two seats closest to mine on either side, although Gummy still doesn't really ever look up from their plate.
I'm starved.
You've hardly touched your plate for.
I had a bit of a big breakfast, you see.
You were not here for breakfast, did you eat elsewhere?
That's one way of putting it.
I see.
You seem surprised. But I take it there is no need for me to go into any more detail than that.
I simply did not realize that, okay? Those two sources of nourishment were so directly interchangeable for you.
It's true. The two essential parts of the balanced diet, eating food and eating... Hold on. I thought you said a few days ago that you didn't need me to explain your sarcasm stuff.
Knowledge of the more specific details may escape me sometimes, that is all.
You're getting so flustered whenever the subject comes up does make your claims for familiarity a bit less credible, you know. Wait, forget I said anything just now. I was planning to pretend I didn't notice how easy it is to make you blush until the time was right. Now I know how that sounds, but I would like to state, for the record, that I meant no ill will or insolence. Honest. Pooh! Wow, that's the first time I've heard a demon lord sticker for non-evil reasons!
Oh no. Nobody else at the table noticed this slip in my facade, did they?
It's okay! Nobody else noticed!
Phew. The perfect time for Gammy's pseudo-telepathy.
Hey? So anyway, don't forget Lucille. Starting the lunch, after breakfast tomorrow, no escape!
Yeah, no need to worry, I'll be there. And let's just hope my Gale-tooth heart can hold out for a bit longer, huh?
Do your best, Lucy!
Wait. Where did the Lucy come from suddenly, right? The fateful day soon arrives. The lounge once again. It would be quite a relaxing place if the magical flame didn't emanate coldness instead of warmth, as all the magical flames in this castle seem to do. If I tried using some magic of my own to make them warmer, would the others protest? Like, do they really prefer cold blue lights that much? Whatever, not important right now. Tress has been a pretty good teacher so far. She's patient and understanding and has no issue with explaining things at my slow but also not steady pace. Turns out learning geography and politics and physics and all that in an entirely new world is pretty difficult for someone who was never great with those subjects. Even the world she spent over 20 years living in. Is that so? Like, geography, physics, I'm still definitely would, I would still say, you know, I have more brain than politicians here, but that's not really saying much, let's face it. I mean, find a politician that actually has a brain. Anyway. Was never great with most subjects really. Even with the ones I had interest in, I fell behind eventually. Regardless, I do my best to follow along and take notes, trying not to grow too conscious of the way Tress is sitting a bit closer to me than usual.
Next, the town that's right here on the map. The one that Jen mentioned in our meeting the other day. This is the port. This is the port town of Marot.
Yeah, the one that she insisted we invade first, right?
Well, she wasn't wrong when she said they were used to being under our control by now. They're part of the kingdom of Char, but said kingdom doesn't care about a remote fishing village with no trade potential. Taking it from right under noses is easy as can be.
Yeah, take it over, make it into, you know, trading capable village. Let's go. Well, that's probably not our goal, but whatever.
When comparing us to the kingdom that wouldn't even attempt to defend them, their public opinion of us has actually become rather favorable indeed. This works out great for us. We take them over non-violently and handle their food supplies, and they let us use their surprisingly numerous fishing vessels. After all, with a bit of stealth magic, even a fishing boat can be used for all kinds of surprise attacks along the coast. While we're on the subject of this town, what is your opinion of humans, Lucille?
The topic suddenly changes to me. I'm caught off guard by the unexpected personal question. I deliberated for a moment on what would be the best way to respond, but then decided that it couldn't hurt to answer honestly. After all, the others readily accept Chris, a human, as one of their own, and Tress was just discussing mutually beneficial arrangements with a human settlement. I don't particularly harbor any dislike for them, if that is what you're asking.
Interesting.
Huh?
It does make things more convenient for me, for previous Demon Lords could get quite fizzy about the frequency of our interactions with humans from Marrowhead, so it's good to know that you won't be. You see, I may as well let you know now. The partners that bring into the castle are exclusively inhabitants of that town. There's a safe route from there to our castle, kept hidden with illusion and confusion brand spells so that we don't have to worry about it being leaked and used as a backdoor invasion route. In fact, if you don't mind me gossiping a little, Chris actually uses this route quite frequently too. Perhaps he has a sweetheart in town, who knows?
Ah, I see. Well, I have no issues with you bringing guests in, but is there a reason it needs to be humans specifically? Don't get flustered! Don't get flustered!
Still chasing the knowledge of specific detail that may escape you about succubi, are you?
She sighs, probably getting tired of my lack of basic demon lore by this point. However, she proceeds to patiently give me an explanation away.
To put it as concisely as possible, it's safer, easier, and more efficient for a succubus to extract mana from ordinary people who accumulate lots of it that they don't use in their everyday lives.
Extract the mana as in... Yeah! The succubus stuff.
Towns are monster-free, so regular civilians don't need to use much magic to survive, nor can they use mana as an alternate food source like we can, so just going to waste otherwise, don't you think?
I understand. Apologies for my ignorance once again.
You really don't need to keep apologizing. It's not your fault. Clearly something went wrong with the summoning process.
The fact remains that my knowledge is greatly lacking compared to what is expected of me as a demon lord. I'm sure this must be extremely inconvenient.
Yes, your knowledge is lacking, but that's still not your fault, and you don't need to worry about it being an inconvenience. We're not in any kind of hurry here.
You said something went wrong with the summoning process. Could you tell me a bit more about that process?
Alright, yeah. I suppose now is a better time to explain that than any.
Thras leans back in her seat and gazes into the fireplace before speaking.
So, to begin with, somewhere within the depths of this castle, there exists a sort of soul slurry, presumably made up of the souls of every demon lord that's ever lived.
Noise.
Many souls mix and blend together, sharing memories, knowledge, and whatever it is that makes one fit for the job.
She turns back to me and continues.
To summon a demon lord, we have to carefully mold together and extract a single soul from this mess. As you can probably imagine, this takes a long time, and the powers that make a demon lord, are only enough for one individual at a time.
This immediately strikes me as strange. Why would my soul have come out of something like that? Is it possible that this soul slurry is connected to other worlds? Does it mean that you're pulling out a specific individual with pre-existing memories? I asked tentatively, probing without giving too much away.
Nah, you'll take an absurdly strong soul to exist unmixed in those conditions. Even if they may share similar traits and knowledge with previous demon lords, each one is still a wholly unique person.
It doesn't take Thras much thought to immediately debunk my theory, leading me to believe she's already more familiar with the mechanics of the process than the vague terminology she's using lets on. That does make sense, considering she's the one in charge of making the magic happen, so to speak.
The general knowledge a fresh demon lord brings with them is one thing, but personal memories are too specific to the individual that created them. That's why it's normal for you to feel confused and disoriented right after being summoned. The meaningless information becomes nothing more than a confusing brain fog.
She pauses, clearing her throat and considering her next words.
However, in your case,
it's different for me, right? No brain fog, no general knowledge, clear past memories, and so my original question remains ultimately unresolved. I'm trying to keep it together here. The overall explanation is all more or less reasonable as far as fantasy world logic goes, but I'm really hesitant to ask anything more about my apparently unheard of situation. What do I even say? What happens to me if I let on that what she's looking at isn't a demon lord, but some random schmuck human who might never be able to fill the role? I can do that. I'll disappoint everyone. No, I already am disappointing them. I know how I'd end up that far, so if this continues too much longer, all I can think to do is shut up and do my best to adapt, assuming the worst they can manage that. Why did I ever think that I might be able to live comfortably here? It seems you've had enough studying for today, yes? Let's call it here for now. Okay? Yes, my yapa!
Thank you. I'll call the maids to bring in some snacks, and we can just chill here for a bit. Sounds good?
Very much so. Already, I can feel the tension deflating. Yes, snacks. Sounds great about now. A distraction to break free from the bad thoughts spiraling that I could have been trapped in for hours. Tress gesture said nobody in particular. Is that how she calls the maids? Must be some kind of communication spell. I do recall that she was in charge of directing the servants after all. Before long, a maid have been told the little horned creatures that act as servants here are called imps. I was correct in the previous episode about that one, by the way. Wheels in a cart with a tray of food. Mini sausages, crackers, small slices of meat and cheese to go with said crackers. Not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when you think of important ladies eating snacks in a fancy meaty baguettes, but you won't hear me complaining.
So, got any less academic questions on your mind that you'd like to ask? About the generals, this castle, anything you're interested in? Or about myself? Any more specific details eluding your grasp, perhaps?
Well, there is at least one thing I'm curious about, but I worry it may be a bit personal.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sure you can tell from how frankly I speak of my sex life that I'm not one to keep secrets about myself.
Yeah, I've noticed that your manner of dress is different from other succubi I've seen around the castle. Of course, this is by no means a criticism. I happen to like your choice of clothing, but it's quite modest by comparison.
Ah, it's very interesting that you should mention that, actually. You're right, my fashion sense. As well, I don't want to say it's unique among my species, because there are many individuals who enjoy wearing many different things. But there's a particular reason I dress this way.
Let me guess. Her body, gives off a stronger aroma. Can I say it like that? Maybe. Than the others? Something like that? There is the anime with a succubi that does that, right? Like, she has to dress up in a couple of layers. Anyway. Huh?
Simply put, along with it, simply being my personal preference, it seems that it's easier for me to attract my sort of woman by harnessing an air of approachable beauty rather than by showing a lot of skin.
Okay, so it's different than my theory.
Not to say there aren't still some girls who go for the scantily clad look, but this works best for my tastes.
It might as well, that's for sure. Wait, hold on. Your sort of woman?
Yes?
It strikes me that Tress had never directly specified the gender of her past partners until now. I assume she was straight because that's what I always assume, but... Oh, I see.
Ah!
Wait, if she's wearing those clothes specifically to attract a certain kind of woman, doesn't my earlier compliment suddenly take on a completely different meaning? Very interesting, you should mention that, she said, with a smirk on her face.
Your reactions are, as always, very entertaining to watch.
Sorry.
I told you already you don't need to keep apologizing so much. You've still done nothing wrong yet.
I don't get it. Okay, it's another VN that this happens. Why do you use still and yet in the same sentence? It just sounds not good. Use one. Only one. It's now quite difficult to say whether today's study session went well or not. Who knows? Who knows? Our studies more or less continued like that for the rest of the week, and now it's Friday. So given that those studies continued for the entire week apparently, let's end the episode, and we'll skip to Friday tomorrow. That's right, even though the video will be out, I think, earlier than Friday, but it's Friday in her world, that's right. That's right. That's how it works, you know, Friday can be on, I don't know, on Wednesday, or something like that. Coincidentally, I think it will be on Wednesday. No, it will not be. Maybe on Tuesday. Yeah, I think this will be on Tuesday, so yeah. Anywho, That was quite interesting. We get to know... To be fair, I'm sort of the same. Like, less revealing is better, I would say. At least in the public, right? Kinda, because I'm speaking of my preferences, sort of. If I'm interested in someone, I would not want that person, that woman basically, to show skin. Too much skin around, right? So others don't get to see what I could see normally. That's the thing. Anywho, with that being revealed, let's end the episode. We'll of course continue tomorrow. If you enjoyed Useless Demon Lord, consider liking the video. Also consider subscribing. That's also always very appreciated. And it's nice having more of you on board. Who's your... no, maybe not. You can tell me about your preference as well. I revealed mine just a second ago. You can tell me about yours. Also, there is Twitch, Twitter, Instagram in the description. If you're into that stuff, you can follow me there as well. And of course, the game is linked in the description as well. It's on itch.io. It's $4.69 if my memory is correct about that. And that's it for today. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.